Welcome, everyone, to the Lord of the Nerds podcast. Once again, I am your host, Stephen Carrillo, live from Gundor. Joining me, my special guest episode on today's episode 4, Mr. AJ Ragland.
Yes, sir. Hello.
A Marine, served with him personally in Iraq, 1st Battalion, 4th Marines, Alpha Company, Alpha Raiders. Not too many of those walking around the Marine Corps. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining.
It's a pleasure, man. We're doing great. Today's a good day. We're surviving.
Really quick, as I do with everybody who comes on the show for the first time, you are a fellow nerd just like myself. So I have to know, as a nerd, what is that one nerd thing that speaks to you the most? Like, for instance, mine is like Batman. That's my shit. That's my guy. That's the one too. Like, I've always like tried to model my personality after. That's just the one that does it for me. Is there one that does it for you, whether it be comics, movies?
Man, let's see.
I know you got a lot.
Oh yeah. Man. So, terms of individual I try to model myself after, it is from the Warhammer 40,000 universe, Primarch of the Salamanders, Lord Vulcan, Lord of the Drakes. Yeah, man, that's my boy right there.
See, that's why I'm glad I got you on, because your level of nerdom goes deep.
Yes.
Deep. And you're a huge anime fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what are you watching right now in anime?
Man, so we just me and a couple of friends, we're just getting together because I'm a little bit behind on Demon Hunter, and I'm watching Demon Hunter, Attack on Titan. I just restarted E04. It's a personal favorite. I didn't watch the last season, so I'm just like revamping. We're just going through it all over again from start to finish. My wife just recently got into it, so yeah, man.
My fiance is a huge manga reader. She's got an app on her phone that she's constantly busting out the mangas like every hour, the black and white ones.
Oh,
and I'm
man,
like, what are you reading? And like, shit I ain't even never heard of before. So I got
my wife on Webtoons, man. Webtoons is my Jesus.
That might be the one she uses. She got me into Attack on Titan. One day we were just chilling on a Saturday night, and Dragon Ball Super had just finished. And so Cartoon Network was left on in the background. All of a sudden, we're talking, and I see this show. This boy's running down the street. And he's like, Mom! I'm like, what?
His first episode.
I'm like, there's these motherfucking giants that are coming through the wall. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, like they could probably take him out. Nope. Yeah. What do you see? You see these I don't want to offend anyone, but you see these Down syndrome looking giants with big old smiles on their face, picking motherfuckers up, eating them whole
like jerky, bro,
ripping them in pieces. Old dude's running to see his mom, and like, you see this one dude, he's like a part of the city watch or whatever. He's like, I got you, Carmen. I got you. I'm going to save you. He stops midway and he's like, nope. I ain't doing that. I'm like, oh, what is happening right now? This is not your feel-good cartoon.
That first episode.
He gets poor Aaron's mom. He fucking bites her head off. Eats her whole.
I'm like, Aaron's looking at her eye to eye.
I had to stop. I said, Linda, what the hell are we watching? She goes, oh, this is Attack on Titan. She goes, this is a real different one. Like, this is a very dark one. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what I push info as episode 1, the pilot episode. I'm like,
the pilot, I'm saying.
What is this show?
Let you lock eyes with your mother.
No, it was a little shook. It was a little shook.
Yeah.
We
weren't ready.
There's only one other recent cartoon / anime that had me feeling like a straight Game of Thrones moment like that. A few weeks ago, I watched the pilot episode of Invincible on Amazon.
Man, Listen, I saw the preview for it. Friend sends a clip. He's like, "Hey man, I know you're into animes and superheroes and whatnot. So check this. Cause listen, I might lose you, cause a little commotion in your chat, but I'm not a big Batman fan. I'm not. To me, he's a failed hero. I'm sorry. We could go round and round. We will definitely. Hey, say hi.
Hi.
How you doing, young man?
Yeah. So go play with your brothers, okay? Thank you. That's my youngest. That's Adonis.
I could tell. I like that name, Adonis. Did you name him after Creed?
I did, exactly. So when the movie dropped, we got on DVD, and while he was still in the womb, every time we would start the movie up, that's when he got active.
Your little boy?
So yeah. So like in the womb, we would start watching the movie. That's when he wanted to play. So we're like, Adonis Creed. There it is.
He was watching your mom. He was watching his mom watch the movie, and inside he was like,
getting ready, practicing it. I'm telling you. But yeah, we were. I saw the little preview, the little glimpse of what's his name, Omni-Man, taking on the rest of the heroes. I was like, what is this? Oh my Jesus! So I sat down. Me and my wife, movie night. I was like, hey, we're gonna watch something a bit different. Friend told me I could watch it, so we're gonna jump into it, and yeah, I'm digging it so far.
I have only seen the first 2 episodes. I was watching the first episode and I was like, okay, this is cool. You know, it's got a very Justice League DC feel to it. The characters are very similar. And then the credits roll. I'm like, okay. But then I was like, okay, you see this extra scene where all the Guardians of the Globe are getting this alert on their watch. And they're like, oh, we got to go meet up. And then they're sitting there and they're like, well, who was it? Somebody called us here. It's a trap. And you see Omni-Man coming out the woodwork. So I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? What's happening? Is this a clone? And he picks up dude by the head.
Oh, the Flash dude. And he's try.
His hands are coming. His hands are turning limp. And I'm like, oh no. And then his eyes start to pop out. I'm like, oh no.
Someone help him. Someone.
He's about to do it. Oh no, his head just bursts like it's the Mountain versus Prince Oberyn all over again.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Hey,
oh my God.
Chill. Go get some gummies.
You see him basically taking everybody on. He gets the Wonder Woman chick, turns her neck around. He picks up her hammer.
What he smacked the
fish dude. The fish dude's head exploded. His head exploded. What the fuck? And then he gets the Martian Manhunter girl. He puts it, he's nope, I ain't even gotta fuck with you very long.
Oh man. Bro, dude is
I can't explain what I was seeing. It made no sense. And then so I had to Google because I am not familiar with Invincible or Ultra Image.
No, it was brand new to me.
I had to Google it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then the first thing that pops up on Google, Omni-Man rated in IGN's top 100 villains of all time. Villains? Okay.
Wait a minute. He's supposed to be Superman.
So I started looking into it. I'm like, without getting like spoiling or getting into it, I'm like, okay. This would be bad if Superman was on some shit like this. This would be real bad. All right. Moving on. It's a good intro way to open it up. Let's move on to the season finale.
Oh man.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I'll call it for what it really should be called. Captain America and the
Winter Soldier. Oh.
So this season in general, I felt the timing of it could not have been more perfect.
Yeah.
With everything going on in the real world, we look at a show like this and I felt it has so much more meaning than being just a comic heroes story spin-off type of story. So,
this is where art reflects life as much as life was reflecting art.
Especially this week. If you take into comparison with what's happened this week and how this show capped up on Friday, how it finished the week.
Yes.
It's speaking volumes.
Check it out.
So, what was your takeaways from the season finale and the season as a whole?
Um, so going on. So hands down, Captain America, Steve Rogers has been one of my all-time greats. So I knew about the Falcon because being a black nerd, uh, well, my uncle told me that no, Falcon's one of the first publicized black heroes like ever. So I wasn't a big fan of his. Um, but when I have the comics where after Civil War, Falcon gets the shield, he does his time as Captain America. I'm a huge fan of that. I have my figure. I've had the figure since
Look at that. Hold on. Put that in the camera.
a
Oh,
while ago. Yeah.
wow. That's
Yeah.
dope. That is dope.
Totally had it for 3 years. My wife bought it for my birthday. So is a the entire arc does a great job of carrying on the story of the shield and what that moniker of Captain America meant to everybody. Now, season ending, I feel like it was a win for fans, new, old, for a deeper reaching into the Black community. I feel like it was a win because we don't have a lot of Black heroes. We especially main screen. You know, you get your, as Isaiah said, blonde hair, blue eyed heroes. There's a lot of them. You can literally pick up the litter. So it was great to see Sam rising up to the moment. I mean, the way, like I said, MCU Falcon easily have just became possibly top 5 favorite heroes.
So, I want to speak to the Isaiah Bradley comments, and Captain America, and a lot of things that Sam says in the show. I think that really stood out to me. So this is a big reason why I wanted to have you on, primarily because 1, you are a Black man. 2, you are a veteran. 3, you are a Black veteran. And one thing I cannot speak on those. I'm only one of those 3. I'm a minority myself, but I'm living in California, so that makes me kind of a majority. Now, I know there is a large portion of the Black community that has always felt and still feels, and even more, maybe more so today, that when they think of something like the American flag, they don't feel a connection to it because of the history of how Black people have been treated in this country. And it's in a sense that how can I have such strong passion and feel great for this country when I have seen maybe myself, my family, friends, and my people throughout the history and the inception of this country, since before this country was even a country, have been treated a certain way. And now you see that coming, you see those words coming out Isaiah Bradley's mouth. When I was a child, from 7 years old to when I was 15 years old, my stepfather was a Black man. He essentially raised me. He lived with us. I spent a lot of time at his family's house. They are from Louisiana. And I was around his parents, who were essentially my grandparents, and I learned a lot from them. And I would hear the stories from my step grandfather of him getting pulled over in somewhere like LA and basically getting his legs beaten for having a toy gun back in the late 60s. And so those stories have stuck with me. I would hear that at 9 years old. I'm 34, I'm going on 35 now, and I still remember those things word for word. And so when I hear a lot of folks in the Black community say they don't feel a connection with the American flag and everything, it makes perfect sense to what Isaiah Bradley talks about. Let's go even a little deeper. Let's talk about Black veterans, how they were treated coming home from World War II and Vietnam and the Korean War. Many of these men fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, but then came home to states in the South that they were told they could not vote.
Not even veterans. Think about the Black heroes at the time. I mean, everybody the iconic fist at the Olympics. That man still had to come home and enter through the back. This is a man who won gold in a big way for America, was used as an icon to stomp out fascism and the Nazi ideals. Yet he was still treated like a second citizen.
So
That hurts.
that's why I think this episode was so powerful in its message. And when I think of a character like Isaiah Bradley, who, when he tells Sam, like, hey, no self-respecting Black man would probably would probably walk around with that shield and everything. And what I find powerful, maybe you could speak more on this, but what I find powerful is when you see in this episode where Sam is like, in the season finale, where Sam is like, look, I know how you feel about this situation, but I feel I have to stand up and speak for what I believe in. What I believe in, yes, we've been treated a certain way, but the country is essentially, in a large area of this country, when you go back east into the South, this country was built by a lot of Black folks in large areas. And I'm here to represent them along with the rest of America, but I'm here to fight for them as well, and to show the world that there can be a Black Captain America. Because even to this day, you could read the stupid ass comments on online forum, and you hear people saying some stupid wacky ass shit like, "Oh, I don't want it because it ain't a why." I have literally on places like comicbook.com and IGN, like, no, I can't expect. He's
we only
Captain
respect
America
Steve
Falcon.
around here.
Or it should be Bucky. Like, okay, you know what? You could say that. And yes, at one point, Bucky was Captain America in the comics. That is true. That is true. But in actuality, Sam Wilson was the next Captain America.
And yeah, it when before the show even started, back at the end of End Wars or Endgame, sorry, Steve passes it off. Everybody's in uproar about it. Oh, why not give it to Bucky? Why not blah blah blah? If you follow the comics, it goes to Sam anyway. It's gonna go to Sam. It was always meant to go to Sam.
And if you think about even the state of the MCU, Sam is coming back as a veteran from maybe Afghanistan or Iraq, like me or you.
Yep.
He was in special forces, deep going behind enemy lines for search and rescue, combat search and rescue missions. He's over here working at the VA, helping veterans who are coming home, fighting the same illnesses that you and I fight today. And while no disrespect to Bucky, but Bucky for the last 60 years has been hunting motherfuckers.
He had hunting, and they didn't walk away from that meat.
So I don't know how, in actuality, people can say that.
Oh, why not give it to Bucky?
Now, I did think at one point back a couple episodes when Sam was like, you know what, this damn shield has caused so much shit. I'm just gonna destroy the damn thing. So I took that as, okay, maybe Bucky's gonna be like, hey, you don't want it? I'll take it and I'll keep it going in the meantime.
You know what? I thought he was gonna give it to the Wakandans. After the fight with Walker and the Dora. I thought.
Well, you see, old girl, she picks up, puts it on her hand, and I was like, oh shit.
I was like, they about to take that back. I mean, it is vibranium. It is theirs.
Yep. And technically, I think if I remember, Howard Stark had acquired that vibranium
illegally.
Exactly.
Illegally. So they're well within their rights to take it back.
So we fast forward to the end of the episode real quick. I know we still got a whole lot to talk to in between, but we see when Sam, after he talks to Isaiah, and he says, you know what? Let's go back. Let's come with me. I want to take you. Takes him to Steve's museum, takes him to this new area, and he sees, basically himself, statue, a bunch of pictures you see of a bunch of other Black veterans fighting. And I thought that was huge. I thought it was powerful. I thought it was real moving. Because
his story was swept under the rug. I mean, there's even in our reality, his story still swept under the rug. Not a lot of people knew who Isaiah was. Oh, who's this Black guy? Oh, he's a super soldier. That's cool. But they're not understanding that
Me
He was
personally,
Captain America.
I didn't know. I had to Google it myself, and I came across a comment called Captain America Red, White, and Black. And it's
Yes.
basically like a 12 or 20 something. I have a
Yes.
whole folder, but it's about 20 some issues where they just go deep into the story arc
Hmm.
of Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, and it's dope. They I think they reference him actually fighting against Bucky. That
See,
was, I want to say that was
that I
like
want to see.
issue 4. Oh, is
That I want to
they
see.
they trade ham. So what a lot of people don't understand, uh the super soldier syndrome was still trying to be replicated. That's where Hulk was a part
Mhm.
of that. They were trying to recreate the same serum that created Steve Rogers, Captain America. So um, Isaiah got a close to perfect version of it, and he was doing his thing, but it turns out that the serum ages, not necessarily ages, but it decomposes their cells. So they wind up getting real sickly, almost cancerous. They used that, and that's why they started putting Steve more on ice, more and more, because they realized it was going to
Mm.
happen to him. Because it burns through their system. It's like super steroids, and the human body can contain it. But they learned that with Isaiah. That's why they waited so long to take Steve off of ice.
See, I never knew this. See, this is news to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And they talk about this in that story arc.
Hmm.
All
Yep.
right. Now I gotta see. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, man. It goes real deep into explaining uh what the super soldier syndrome actually does to the human body.
Now I'm wondering in the MCU version, I can't remember. Did they specify if Professor Zola was the one who created the serum for Isaiah? I'm pretty
Uh
sure because I'm almost certain. I mean, we don't have to really even look
yeah,
at this too much, but I'm pretty sure since the death of Professor Erskine to
yeah.
Dr. Nagel, I'm pretty sure there were numerous
Numerous,
people
yeah.
trying to replicate that serum.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure who actually made the serum
I
for
don't think
him.
that they never said. Obviously, we
Yeah.
know it was American scientist.
Yeah.
And then you see even Nagel talking about it when he says, "Oh, they had the blood." So I guess it sounds like the government had the only living samples of any form of a super soldier was
Yeah.
Isaiah, which is kind of weird because if they were trying to do that and Hydra had been running Bucky the whole time, you would think they'd been
Well,
able to.
Hydra only had Bucky. I mean, if you yeah, sure. You see that scene when he's with Zemo. Zemo does the activation and whatnot, and then he goes and eliminates the other
Mhm.
soldiers, but they weren't as, I want to say, finished like Bucky and Steve was.
Yeah, I
That's what
think
made them so.
if I remember, you saw they started wigging out, and
Yeah.
then I thought they would have gotten away, but apparently they got them under control or something and
Hmm.
put them back to sleep. Uh, so all right, well, moving on. What this far as this season finale? What were your expectations as far as what the Wakanda Captain America suit was going to look like? And then, because from that action figure you just held up, it's identical.
Yes.
They did not stray very far at all.
No,
They essentially copied the suit
from the comic,
exactly.
like
Every
literally.
limb for limb, to the
Yes.
goggles down to the boots.
Yeah. They created a real life version of the comic suit. So when you see Bucky and he has the favor, and then he drops the briefcase off, I was like, is it? That's it. That's the suit. It has to be the suit. It can't be anything else but the suit. I was like, now it could have been different. Maybe, yeah. I mean, we've seen Falcon go through different alterations. Maybe his suit would have mimicked the black and gold of Bucky. I don't know. There's
I had it. I thought for it would have been in. I initially was thinking because it's from Wakanda that the
Hmm.
suit itself was going to be all black,
Yeah.
and then with some iterations up top. But what I saw was actually they went with the full red, white, and blue.
And that shows their actual relationship with the Captain America moniker itself. How much esteem and respect that they put in it. I mean,
It's
at this
just
time, like, of course, with the passing of Chadwick, T'Challa is effectively kind of not there no more. But in the MCU itself, T'Challa's still alive. He's still breathing. He understands, oh, Falcon's going to be the new Captain America. Let's do him the honors of wearing the colors.
you got to think like Shuri has something to do with it.
Yeah, totally.
Just from the way it looked to the way he went with the shield
The-
looking about
yeah,
it.
the
The wing expansion just
the way it integrated with the shield, like, yeah,
it couldn't have been it. There's literally, I don't think they could have done anything to make that better than what it was. It was
no,
it was perfect.
It's glorious. Like especially with the landing, the full expansion of the wings. Oh, that was majestic.
And the fact that they went out and said, no, this whole motherfucking suit is vibranium.
Yes,
it's full on vibranium, and you see that when he falls down on the freeway bridge.
Yeah, and the whole up, bounces
basically
off of
the damn car bounces completely over, and you hear that loud little thong indicating this is full vibranium.
Yeah,
he looks up real quick. Everybody's clapping for him, and oh shit, they know Captain. This is Captain America.
This is Captain America.
I'm like, okay, here we go, and you can see right away this is completely different than what he was rocking before, and in actuality. Even the flying aspect is going to be even better now for him because vibranium is supposed to be what lighter. You would consider elvish steel, where it's supposed to be strong as hell but light as a feather.
Light as a feather. Like he probably barely even feel it,
So now he's over here flying on a hella light aerodynamic suit.
Well, look at the way he was flying compared to previously before. It was real kind of before he had no jet fighter kind of maneuvers. Now he's
on Tony level.
Yeah, he's doing flips, he's rolling, he's encompassing, throwing the shield, catching the shield. His flight mechanics are way more nimble than they were before. I think the new what is it, stage 4 is going to show us a lot more mobile hero force. The Avengers are going to be able to react a lot more quicker than the last ones. The previous editions, they're kind of, they set our feet, hold our ground tight. We're going to fight here. Line is in the sand. While this is more of a reactionary force than anything else. And I think that speaks to them. I mean, the more you know, the quicker you are to react.
Oh, I really like how they're going forward with it.
Yeah,
let's go.
They're doing a great job.
Let's talk about, we got about 10 minutes left before we got to wrap it up. I'm running out of time. I want to talk about what we see going forward with Bucky. He makes amends with Mr. Nakajima. And man, that was hard. That was rough. You had to think for him to go and talk to this man about that. It was really rough.
Yeah. I mean, that's Bucky is what lifelong troops are. It's while you're in it, you could get through it, you muscle through it, you man up, you're basically jumping from mission to mission. But they don't teach us how to deal with the consequences of our actions, or the consequences of dealing with our consciousness.
I think with everything Bucky had experienced while he was the Winter Soldier, when him and Tony are fighting, Tony asked him, like, do you even remember them? And he says, I remember
I remember
everybody.
everyone. Yes.
And he's going forward now that he's not in the Winter Soldier mode where he didn't have any, he had zero emotions. Now he has all his emotions back. And yeah, he got those basically. Well, he was in Wakanda essentially for 2 years. We don't know how
Yep.
long he was asleep. And now he's back to the real world, and he's experiencing what a lot of guys like ourselves have gone through.
And
When they're just trying to be a normal person again.
he has to find himself again. I mean, when you're in, you have a purpose. I mean, his purpose was definitely darker than your common door kicker, but he's out. Is he Avenger? Is he not an Avenger? What is he supposed to do with the rest of his life?
Yeah.
Especially with kind of he only knows how to want to do one thing. He's been doing it for 90 years. And that's the trauma that comes with service like that. And it's great that I'm happy that he's getting the support, especially from Sam's family, because that's what's needed. And
then the hardest part, I think, for Bucky is the one person he was always able to relate to and who was going through the same thing as him isn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, he legit felt like he's on his own.
Yep, he is legit alone. And it's not like he can fall back on family. I mean, who's to say that his family's even around anymore? I mean, 90 years, a lot can happen in 2. And of course, he wasn't reproducing, so it's not like he has children or grandchildren. Maybe Steve got around to having some children since he had the alternate.
I think before he went back in time.
Him and Peggy had to hash that out one time.
Yeah, I think when he finally had a chance to have Peggy, I don't think it was a very good time. I don't think it was a very good time for Peggy. Let's just say that.
Can you imagine? I mean, that's pretty much two lifetimes wrapped
up. Unless the super soldier, is helping him in that performance.
I mean, it did increase his stamina, right?
Maybe the super soldier serum is helping him there. I'd imagine. They say
I feel bad for Peggy. She's the one I got to take on.
So either way, it's either too short or too long for Peggy. So she's got to think of something.
She's gonna have to adapt and overcome.
Either that girl's gonna not get pleased, or she's gonna get worn out.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, think about your first time too. Can you imagine being hyped up on 4 levels of energy? Yeah. And just you don't tire out. Oh my god!
Damn. It's his first time too. Steve's like, he felt like he was a kid again, probably.
The round of applause going through that house must have been extraordinary. Oh man! Yeah. What time is it? Yeah. How many steps you got in? Say 4:05. Good job.
Keep those steps up with him.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. What did you think? I'll tell you, I'm going to pause this meeting real quick, and we're going to come right back in 30 seconds. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, we are back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So going forward, where do you stand? I think, if there's one thing I did not like about how this episode ended, I want to say did not like it was just kind of like it happened just too fast and didn't touch on enough, is Peggy being the power broker. I knew it was coming because I saw her talking to old dude on the last episode. You could hear his French accent through the phone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very strange because it really didn't make too much sense, because it sounded like in the last episode she paid Batroc to be the one to go take out Sam.
Correct.
But then this episode, I can't remember if they even talked, but she shows up and she's trying to take out Carly all of a sudden, and so they just never really touched on that. And then the way they set it up.
The way they set it up was a bit, because they kept eventually we'll have to deal with the power broker. We'll have to deal with the power broker, and then you forget that Carly and her have actually met, and then there's no big. It was too subtle. I want to say
Mhm.
it was too subtle, uh, especially with everything else that's going on. It's easy to forget in the climax, and that's supposed to be a pretty big thing. When they see each other, you're supposed to be like, they have their minor dialogue, but it was just nonchalant. She was like, "You just want us back," and she's like, "Yeah, I don't really need you." And then that's when Backdrop comes on, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?" Oh, she's the power broker.
Yeah, and it's that they kind of hyped up the power brokers from like
Yeah,
basically
a
the first
lot.
episode, and then we're like, who is? I know every region has their own power broker or whatnot, so it's just very strange the way they and if there's one thing that I would say that the MCU does do wrong is they tend to hype up certain things and then kind of just shut the
Forget
door on
about
them.
it.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like let's go back to WandaVision where you
go
hyped
play.
up this whole thing with Quicksilver coming in, and
Yeah,
then it was a troll
it was
job.
nothing.
When you
Yeah,
give him the name Mike Boner, it was a troll job.
yeah,
Let's call it for what a lot.
yeah.
Uh, so I think what's gonna happen, we're gonna see her as a major player, possibly. I think because they're doing a Secret Wars or Secret Invasion
Yeah.
storyline coming soon. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's gonna be a movie or if it's gonna be a series.
So, Secret Wars came after Civil War, so we all know that. I think it's going to be a movie because they're putting too many. I don't know if you've been keeping up, but they've added cast members. Basically, they took from Game of Thrones. They
Yeah,
took
I
the big
saw
three.
the other day it was announced Emilia Clarke is joining.
Yeah, and
Some people
they
think Felicia Hardy.
the actor from who did uh Jon Snow and Rob Stark are both going to be in it as well.
Well, I know John Stark, Kit Harrington, he's coming out in Eternals.
Maybe I'm talking.
He's coming
Yeah.
out in Eternals, and so is his brother, Richard Madden, or Rob Stark. They're
Yeah.
both going to be in Eternals.
So
I don't know too much about the Eternals, so I can't speak. I don't really know. All I know is one of the characters is supposed to be Thanos' brother,
correct.
but isn't in the comic, isn't Adam Warlock Thanos' brother?
I can't remember
I,
because
I know they're
I
related or
know
they're close.
Warlock. Yeah, I want to say Adam Warlock was created specifically to beat Thanos.
Okay.
Like that was his whole uh his whole thing, and that was kind of a letdown. We're talking about brief things where they hyped up. Remember, at the end of the second Guardians movie,
Mhm.
Adam Warlock, and then there's nothing
You see
because
the
the
Guardians is
casket. Yeah,
you see all the Guardians at the end of the movie in the post credits. You see them, and I saw that the other day. I'm like, what? They showed the Guardians, but they never touched on that at
no,
all.
not at all. Hey, go play.
Even Howard the Duck got his little moment of
Exactly,
redemption.
his little 5 minutes of fame. But so Thanos is part of the Eternals. Uh, he just kind of eliminated so many of them. They had their own little kind of war. So I'm wondering who is going to be who and how they're going to compensate the Eternals now that Thanos is effectively gone.
Now, wasn't he a part of the Eternals and he became too rogue and they basically gave him the boot, right? And then that's when he
Yeah.
kind of went
So
and started his own
in
army and his
the
own following.
comics, he falls in love with Death, and then that's when he goes on his I need to eliminate half the galaxy. Stop. You're gonna hurt yourself. Just chill. Um. So yeah, but Adam Warlock was like there. If Thanos is the devil, Adam Warlock is Jesus,
Okay.
and they were supposed to have their big rumble, and I just don't understand why introducing the Eternals now instead of before, because they were an integral part of the war against Thanos.
Well, if you look at the MCU where we currently stand in the state, not counting WandaVision
Hmm.
and now Captain America and the Winter Soldier, you think of the future slate. We got
Hmm.
Eternals, we got a Guardians, we got Thor. You got you see Sam Fury out in space
Hmm.
with the Krolls. And so if you think about it, it looks like the route they're going with if and when they ever do another Avengers story, it looks like they're setting it up for everything to the future of the MCU is going to have a very hard space theme to it.
Yes.
Even okay, maybe you can't. Let's talk about WandaVision, how they incorporated Sword. Sword is primarily known for operating in
Yeah.
space,
Not
but
bad. So maybe it'll be like an expansion, like Earth's expanding in. I know we're gonna have in Thor Love and Magic.
Love and
Uh
Thunder.
Love and Thunder, that's what it is. Um he is gonna be following him and the Guardians out in their spaceship. So
Because that one's coming out
possibly.
before Guardians 3. And we last see him,
Correct.
he leaves with the Guardians.
Correct.
They just announced that Russell Crowe's coming in to play Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're going to go with some type of Asgard origin story or potentially try to. I know New Asgard's on Earth right now,
Correct.
but maybe they might be trying to find like a more
I
suitable
knew,
home
yeah.
for like that can handle the power of Asgard. Because,
Maybe Loki will answer some of these questions.
I believe so. I would hope that by the end of that series, because as you can
Yeah.
see from the trailer, Loki jumps in and he's with these people that are called like they're essentially the timekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically saying, "Hey, man, you see in that one graphic when he says when you went through time, we created this portal of things that went wrong."
Yep.
And if it's identical to what damn, I can't remember her name, Doctor Strange, the lady who found Doctor Strange.
Oh, what's her name?
I can't.
Yeah.
She
What?
basically she shows that graphic to Bruce when she says,
Yep.
"When you go back in time, this is this what do they call it?
Break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alternate universes or whatever."
Yeah.
She says, "This is what you're doing every time you do it just once," and it fits the exact same graphic that we saw in Loki. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell me, "Hey, you're gonna have to go back and fix all the mistakes you made." So you see in the trailer a broken, destroyed New York City with Stark Towers in the background.
Yep.
Maybe that was like an alternate reality where he was
Possibly.
successful and did destroy Earth.
Well, I don't know if you saw. They also have announced that they're going to make another Captain America.
Yeah, so I saw Captain America 4, and they were even talking about there is something in the works that's on the table for maybe a season 2 of Captain
Yeah.
America and the Winter Soldier. Or maybe they just say, you know what, we won't do a season, we won't do a show, we'll just full on do a movie.
Yeah, a full movie.
Which
So
I'll take either one. I mean,
yeah.
I would say one thing that I love about the show aspect is you're rather than giving us, let's say, 2.5 hour movie, which would even then kind of be a long movie for some folks.
Yeah.
I'll take 6 hours of content. I'll
Yeah.
gladly take that because that's just
Easily.
all we're
And
doing
then you
is
can
building
you can
story.
dive more into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You can flesh out the details.
I think that's the one thing when you think of how successful Zack Snyder's Justice League is because he had this 4 hour window to build storyline.
Yes.
You know, you even saw Alfred had a strong story.
Yeah.
In the
Everybody had their. I like Snyder's cut over the.
But you ain't hyping it up what everybody you see everybody hyping it up.
Yeah,
Right
man. It still felt rushed. I think you need to give each character their due diligence. Even with 4 hours, this is why I think DC is behind movie wise, and this is what they're failing to keep from their comics and their actual television shows. They built such great universes. The DC universe is amazing. If you like darker type heroics and stuff like that, DC is the way to go. I will give you that. But the movie, you can tell they felt they needed to rush. They need to catch up to where Marvel was. But no, um, with the introduction of Cyborg, we all know Cyborg starts off as a Titan before he joins the League. Give that due diligence. That way you can develop the Titans. Now we could get a separate story. They tried to make a Titan show, but there was no appeal to it.
I haven't seen it. I know Cyborg is a part of Doom Patrol. I personally haven't had a chance to see Doom Patrol. I will say this telling of the DC story without branching because I want to stay on Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
this was more this to me. I don't know if you had a chance to read this, but back I think in 2011, they did after the Flashpoint paradox, they started a whole new storyline in DC called the New 52.
Yes,
and it's basically starts off with the way we saw Justice. You kind of see with the original Joss Whedon cut. It kind of started off very similar, and then you see so I think I remember Cyborg was it was one of the founding members of the Justice League in that story arc. Obviously, we know he was a Teen Titan for a while before he basically until he became an adult. And that's when he basically branched off. And by then, the Teen Titans had already had massive changes. Robin wasn't even in it anymore. So it was it's a different adaptation. I will say to end it so we can get back into the MCU part. I will say the difference between DC and the MCU is with DC you have a Kevin Feige type who is given full creative control, and his bosses Disney are like, you know what, whatever you want to do, we're on board.
Yes,
let's make it happen. If the fans want this, let's find a way to make it happen and make it work. Versus,
I think it's definitely about the directing.
Yeah,
because Feige
he puts the right people in play.
Yeah, Feige pays such homage to the core elements of each hero. He's not trying to create his own little twist on them, and I think that's what separates the two.
And he basically ensures that anyone who's coming on board isn't going to try and tweak these storylines in any way that's going to put the entire universe of the MCU compromised for any contradictory. There's very little contradictory going on in anything Marvel related. Versus a DC, they lack that person with that creative direction, and it's basically a bunch of executives throwing fucking ideas at the wall and saying, all right, this sounds like a good idea. I mean, I know they're flirting with a Black Superman Calvin Ellis story, which I think would be great. But it's like, you got so much stuff that you're working on. It's just random ideas.
Yeah, man. As we need to bring it in, scope it in.
There's no continuity. And it's like, you talk about, now you want to drop another GCPD story on HBO Max with Jeffrey Dean Morgan being the Commissioner Gordon. And it's basically going to follow the exact same format as Gotham.
Yep.
I don't know. Moving on.
Yep, getting past that.
Moving on.
But back to how the story of Sam Wilson's Captain America is affecting the population. So I played semi-pro football very briefly. One of the coaches is a huge actual Isaiah fan. He loves Isaiah Bradley. Has the tattoo. He has all the comics. We will have very intense conversations, and we are actually talking about it, I think, last week. And he's an Army vet as well. And the way he dressed it is Isaiah is a veteran of his time. We or black veterans today, we don't have to deal with the bigotry or the racism.
Well, maybe not to what they
Yeah, to that extent. Now it was encouraged during that time frame. There was a clear divide, and it didn't matter if that individual served in the army. Yeah, sure, but you can train a monkey to shoot. That was the common thing that they used to tell veterans back in the day. Oh, or black veterans. You can still train a monkey to shoot. Why are you any different? And
Yeah.
it hurts. And the things that they went through, it's mind-boggling. But you get Sam Wilson. He he was groomed for the role, so to speak. Set up, appointed even. So he's not getting that same feedback that Isaiah had. They shared the same exact moniker, same title, same placement in society, but society's rules were different versus Isaiah and Sam. I follow with Sam. Yes, there are things that we can definitely move past, but I can't hold that same hatred in my heart that Sam has. I mean
And
that Isaiah has.
you might know this better than I. My step grandfather was one of those. He was one of those that he saw it and he experienced it and everything. But he would always talk about how no matter how bad it was, he always had to hold himself to a higher standard and say, "I'm not gonna be. I can't be this angry old, just this old angry black man who's just holding on to hatred because everything that was done to him in the past." He was always like, you know what? I want to be better because
Better.
if I'm better, then it shows me that I'm better than the people doing this to me.
Exactly. Because hatred can only get you so far.
Hate feeds
That
hate, man.
is
Hate feeds hate.
that is one of the things I had to learn. I mean, when the the army lieutenant, uh, not a couple of months ago, I was doing a commission security job. Had to go just out of town for a wedding. I didn't know where I was. Uh, Now, I have stereotypically black tendencies. I drive a Dodge Magnum. That is my favorite car in the world. The windows are tinted. It sits a little bit lower than what it started off as. The rims are a bit shiny. Yes. Stereotypically, looking at me, I can understand. But I was driving. We're in a nice little country town. I'm lost. Legit. No idea where I'm at. I'm possibly going about 30, 40 miles an hour on a back road. I'm like, what? I see an officer. I slow down, pull up next to him. Hey man, can you tell me where this location is? I'm a bit lost. Why are you headed there? Oh, just got a job to do. No, it's just I'm security, it's whatever. So while I'm talking to him, mind you, we're still in our cars. Uh, Another car pulls up behind me. So pull off to the side of the road. I don't want to block the road, trying to be respectful. Turns out it's another cop. And I'm on the phone with my boss. I was talking to her via speakerphone. So she's hearing all of this going on. And guy comes up to my passenger side. Hey, I can't see into your back windshield. Well, yeah, it's tinted. Well, that makes me nervous. Why? You don't have to see into my car. In the state of Texas, my back windows could be as tinted as I want. Hell, I could have them mirrored. I'm still within the state regulations. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of your vehicle. Okay. I know where this is going, but I have to be respectful because anything I say or do in this situation, all that's reported, well, he's a large black man, and he was angry, so I feared for my life. I have 4 babies. At the end of the day, everything I do is to come home to my 4 babies. So pull me out of the car. I see you got some gear back here. You mind if we go through your car? I have nothing to hide. Go for it. So officer number 2 starts going through my car. Officer number 1 puts me in handcuffs. Sir, why are you putting me in handcuffs? Oh, it's for our safety. You're
You've already
shaking.
searched me.
Yeah. You're shaking a little bit. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, my anxiety is a little high. We're on a back road. It's just you and me. I have no idea what your intentions are. Well, what are your intentions? I'm trying to go to work. I was like, to be fair, you put me in handcuffs. You didn't search me. So what does that do? So like I said, I'm a security officer. I carry handcuffs too. I had unlocked my handcuffs because my key's on my belt. So I unlocked my handcuffs and I show them. If you're going to search someone, make sure you search someone. So they slam me. Put me on the front of my hood. My boss loses her shit. She has to make sure that, so my brother-in-law is a cop as well. My brother-in-law has to come get me from that situation because it was going south. And I'm like, it happens. I can't do anything about it. Because all they see, they don't see the uniform. They don't care about my military service. They don't care that I have a complete clean slate. I've never been in trouble with the law.
You know what you did was it was driving while black.
Yeah. And that's literally what I said. I was like, you caught me driving while black.
You flag a
Oh,
motherfucker.
it has nothing to do with
Flag
your
a
race.
motherfucker down and ask him for help and everything. And
Yeah. I was like, well, why are you putting me in handcuffs? What's the purpose? Well, it was for our safety. What do you have to be unsafe about? I told you exactly what I was doing, why I was here. But when a black man in America goes through these things, they see, oh, his car is this way. He has to be a thug. Well, the only time I was ever a thug, sir, was for America. And I was in the United States Marine Corps.
and that goes back to pretty much when we opened this show about how when we talk about the disconnect that a lot of many Black Americans have that's with associated with any form of patriotism or any sense of pride, it's hard to be there because while Black Americans have been such an integral part of the history of this country, it's always been met with disdain and just it has essentially always been an uphill battle.
It's a double-edged sword. Being in the Marine Corps has been both the one of the highest points of my life, but it's also brought me the most stress. Because it's not, I just don't get it from one side. I get it from both. I come from South Austin, and people think Austin, oh, they're hippies, they're et cetera, et cetera. We had our fair share of drama, just like anyone else. What most people fail to understand is, although Houston is our black hub in Texas, we travel a lot. The relays are a huge thing to us. So if you don't know, Texas Relays is started off as a track and field event. The relays, as we call them, were the first time that like HBCUs could participate on the grand scheme. So everybody would come. And with that comes Black culture. So the relays became a thing of Black culture. With that, yes, you get your bad. Gangs are now around. So we had to defend ourselves in a very gangish way.
From both sides. You got from other folks saying, look what you're bringing.
Look what's going on. Look what's happened now. And then the other side, you just trying to do your thing, and you got your own folks is stirring shit up. So
man, when I tell you, it was when I announced, when I told everybody I was joining the Marine Corps, I got it from the black folks. Why you joining that white man's army? They don't care about you. Everything you do is just to make them seem better about themselves. They're just going to you're cooning out. You're doing all this, blah blah blah, and at the end of the day, that white man ain't gonna take care of you. But at the same time, it's like I come from a long line of veterans. Every male in the Raglan name has served in the military.
So at the end of that show, when Sam Wilson is explaining to Isaiah Bradley how he says, you know what, I understand your history and everything you went through, and I had know everything I've gone through on my own, and but at the same time, I'm choosing to still stand up and show what I'm representing, who I'm representing, and why I'm doing it. So that is why when I wanted to have you on this show, because I felt you could speak on that.
That line.
You could speak on that more so way better than I can, that's why I wanted you on as a black man and as a black veteran.
Yeah, that line itself was throughout all the movies, throughout all the shows that Marvel has put out. That line is one of the most uplifting things they've ever put out. Personally, I relate more to that one line than I do anything else. I went hard for Black Panther. I loved it. It got the perfect balance of being proud of your race and your color, but also hitting the hard reality. Eric Killmonger was every black person in the 90s. Why didn't you help us? Or you didn't help us, I know how to help us now. And we were radicalized. That's what the Panthers were. They were a radicalized form of protection for us. They had to go to a certain level, draw their line in the sand, and dare people to cross it.
And so that's funny because you mentioned that. So I've heard a lot of black folks in America say when they visit places like certain countries in Africa, they are not met with the open arms that they think they're going to be receiving for being a black person going back. There's this inception that I'm going back to the motherland and everything. And from what I've read and from what I've heard, there are a lot of cases where
if I can take
Africans go back and they're not welcoming with open arms, and they tell them, don't call yourself an African American. You are not an African American. You are not African. You were, and so that's why the Eric Killmonger aspect, you could see. I didn't know, but I had an idea of what he was talking about. I said, y'all living over here, living large and living nice. When my people over there on the other side of the ocean, we're being treated a certain way, and we have been treated a certain way. While y'all over here living nice and good, you don't forgot about everyone else outside of Wakanda,
because they don't see the African in African Americans. There's a divide. If you're from Africa, you're from Africa. When they see a Black American, they just see Americans. They don't understand that we're not turning our back on you. Like I said, if I could take you back, last deployment, we're in Fallujah. We got moved to the big camp. Remember, they had those contractors, the African contractors that would guard the PX and their cafeteria.
So I didn't deploy with you guys the second time. I remember specifically in Camp Al Assad and in Kuwait. They had the dudes who were like usually from Ghana or Nigeria. You know, they were in the all tan suits.
Yeah, they don't see us as equals. Ask your grandma what she wants. They don't relate to us because your common African American cannot tell you where they're from. Like, you know, you got people, oh, I'm from Ireland. We come from this side. We came over on this boat. We can't. We can't do that. we come from Africa. Well, what part of Africa? Africa.
Lost.
There are 49 countries
Exactly.
in Africa. Can't tell you where we come from. We just know we came over on boat, sold in slavery. That's all we got. And there's so much. It's like North America is like saying, "Oh, I'm from Canada," or "Oh, I'm from America," or "I'm from Mexico." But no. You're North American, right? Yes. So you're North American. No, that's not how that works. Because to them, you're either Nigerian, you're Congolese, you're from Somalia, you're from
Ghana.
Yeah.
You name it.
So if you can name your tribe or even country, they have no time for you. So it's one of the other lines I've always loved is from the movie Selena, when her dad is explaining to the Mexicans, we gotta prove we're more Mexicans than the Mexicans, and we gotta prove we're more Americans than the whites.
It's true.
That is the most what?
It's true. I have experienced it firsthand myself, being in Mexico on the beach, and I remember this dude, some local, was like, "Hey man, what's up?" Tell me in Spanish. She's like, "Hey, what are you, Mexican? You're American?" I was like, "Oh, I was like teenager time." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a Mexican just like you." He's like, "No." He's like, "Look at how you listen to your accent. Look at the way you look at your hair. Look at the way you dress. Look at your skin. You're not nowhere near as dark as us. Like, don't come down here and call yourself Mexican because you're not even a Mexican citizen." So at that point, I looked at that back then and I was like, "Shit. How can I go around calling myself Mexican if the actual Mexican nationals don't see me as Mexican?" So it was a very hard pill to swallow, and it's something that I still deal with and talk about today. So moving forward, we know Sam is now captain. I think what I want to see, hopefully if they do a season 2 or in the movie, we see basically a lot of response to Black Captain America. And even Bucky told them in the last episode, he goes, "I'll be honest with you, like when Steve first gave you that shield."
1 second, real quick.
I didn't think,
Everybody trying to wish the baby a happy birthday.
I totally get it. All right. So I want to see what happens as far as Sam going forward. But it's still kind of confusing because we don't really know what the future of the MCU holds. Like, it's there's a lot of gray area. We know what movies are coming out, but if you look at the slate of things, we won't really know unless we get a season 2 of Captain America.
Yeah, hopefully. I would like to see how, their broader spec. I like how they're dealing with the world's answer to. Oh, I want to see the world's answer. We saw the initial response. The people. Oh, that's Black Falcon. No, that's Captain America. But I want to see the rest of the world. I want to see how they respond, similar to how they responded to John Walker's display of being open as Captain America.
Now, one thing I really liked about this episode too is the way John Walker got his moral compass back.
Yes.
I mean, but that shield he made, god damn.
He put in work on that shield.
This poor boy put his medals up on there. Everything.
He's trying to guide himself back.
That lasted what? A few minutes. Oh my god. Wow. Well, you know what? He made it work for the time it worked. But I think what I really liked is he got his moral compass back when he had an opportunity to chase Carly and get his revenge for get his revenge for Lamar's death, or he had to save people. He chose to save people, which is what
Yeah.
he essentially was his whole life prior to becoming Captain America. I really liked how he was able to come back, work with the boys, and now we're seeing him going forward as U.S. agent, which I thought the way they made his costume and his suit was dope. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, they really went forward on in this
So
show with these suits to make them identical to what we
yes.
see in the comics.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get some type of shield. I want him to get a shield.
Yeah, he deserves a shield.
You
He
know, if
deserves
it's an
a
all
shield.
black one, that's cool too. Because U.S. Agent had a shield that wasn't like identical to Captain.
Yeah.
He had it when he was
matched
Captain America.
it matched his color scheme. I feel torn with Walker because you can clearly see the onsets of his PTSD kicking in. He's getting the twitch, the moments of doubt. And what Battlestar helped him with was helping him get past those doubts. But he doesn't really have a support system.
I think that was the hardest part for Walker. Was Lamar Battlestar was always, he looked to Lamar whenever he wasn't sure about something, and Lamar was always the one like, "Hey man, you know what to do. You have it in you. You are the one who's always made the right decisions. You just got to be." Now, when Lamar's passing happened, he lost that sense of, this is my guy who I always look to guide me through whenever I'm confused or unsure about a situation. He didn't have it, which is why we see him snap and smash old dude's face in. Oh, I think what's gonna happen, because now he's working with Val, or Madam. She's Madam Hydra in the comics.
Yes.
Is she Madam Hydra here? I'm a firm believer that Hydra has never died. They're just laying in wait.
No, they're laying low.
Like they always said from the very first inception of Hydra, it cut one head off, two more appear in its place.
Yep.
Hydra, there's no way Hydra's gone. They're still around.
No. So the way she speaks, you know, she's gonna be sending them on some very
off the books
type of things. And I think it's just gonna drive him deeper into.
I see him as doing like an anti-hero type of deal where he's working for her, kind of doing a lot of wet work, but at the same time picking up a lot of good jobs. It's gonna, essentially that's what our own special forces in this country do. A lot of not so pretty stuff.
And I think they're creating a new villain for Falcon, or even Winter Soldier at this point, for Bucky, because we know John and Bucky don't get along at all. So I think Zemo's locked up. The power broker.
That's a matter of time. Someone's gonna bring Zemo out.
He's definitely going to get out. He's too smart. Sharon or Sarah, what was her name?
Sharon.
Sharon as power broker is definitely going to be a major player for down the line, and I think is going to be another fight between captains. I think he's going to one too many Black Ops missions, and he's going to go under.
Or power broker might get in touch with Val, and now she's got Walker working for the power broker and doing all sorts of missions that when maybe Rhodey or Sam get word about, they say, "Hey, what you doing?" And then we see that going forward. So I'm interested. I really like it. It seems like they're trying to, the way they had it, he's a good guy again, but he's working for someone a little foul.
Yeah.
So I want to see.
We'll see if it corrupts him or if he's able to redeem himself. I think that's going to be the coin flip between that.
All right. Right before we wrap it up with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, is there anything any last thing you want to touch upon in this episode or the season that just really stood out to you outside of the Isaiah Bradley stuff? Like, is Steve Rogers dead? They talk about him as if he's dead.
So in universe, I think they're referencing him as dead because he's old right now. But
maybe he's up in space with Nick Fury chilling.
that's very, very true.
They say in the very first episode, hey, there's a weird rumor he's up in space hanging out.
Exactly.
Like, on a ship
and
right
they
now.
reference it a couple times.
So maybe
so
I'm thinking is hanging out with Nick Fury up in space and just
I'm
pretty
thinking
much living out
maybe
his days.
they're trying to find, if they do bring him back, hopefully, because Steve Rogers does need to make a return. They're biding their time to get him from old man Steve back to prime Steve Rogers.
You know, I know it'll never happen, but what I would love to see is if they did it like a 6 or 8 episode series of him just returning all the Infinity Stones.
Yes.
You know, just going back. I would love to see him returning the Soul Stone and meeting up with Red Skull one last time.
Yeah.
You know, so I know they're trying to basically close a chapter on a lot of these original Phase 1 dudes, except for Thor, because Thor has already said, "Hey, I'll play Thor until I die." I love playing it. I will play it as long as you need me to. I don't care.
Well, he's the last original standing.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
they wrapped up
Bruce,
everybody
but
else.
I don't.
Yeah,
I know there's a weird thing with Paramount Pictures and Universal where they won't lend the Hulk to do his own solo film, so he has to be an inclusion to anything MC related.
Yeah, which is a suck because I was so looking forward to World War Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite,
Planet Hulk or something.
Man, I'm saying,
but
yeah, that would have been great.
That's a shame we can't get it. Me, as far as what I loved about this is that the Winter Soldier and Civil War were both made by the Russo brothers.
Correct.
And just the way whoever the showrunner was and the writer, they were able to just keep that same tone from Winter Soldier and Civil War. It just felt like it was just like that was part 1, part 2. We're rolling right into.
I feel like the crosstalk between everybody is really, really well. They work, although like each kind of standalone player, the overall umbrella of them coming together with the writers and the directors are amazing. That they've built a family within themselves, and I think that translates to what we see on screen.
Yeah.
And if they could continue to do this, easily one of the best movie franchises of all time.
It's just what I think the hard part for me going forward is the MCU. The one struggle I think they're going to have is who is going to be this hero character that's going to carry the MCU franchise. Like you see when everything prior to Endgame was we had Tony, Cap, and Thor were our guys. And then of course you had all of these supplemental people that came in that were huge parts, but those three.
Who's going to be the new big 3?
Yeah. And you couldn't even narrow it down. Let's say, because Thor, as big as he was about it, let's be in actuality, it was about Tony, because it started from him in the very first one.
Yep.
And then and Steve.
Yep.
So the face of the MCU, and it's just very strange where we're at in the MCU because everybody who was living at Avengers Academy, they're gone. Their home is destroyed. That's why we see Sam going back to the South. Wanda was off doing her thing, trying to find somewhere to live. So and Tony's gone. It doesn't seem like Pepper's really interested in reviving everything, rebuilding anyone's tech or anything.
I think what is going to have to be is it's going to come down to Strange and Sam.
Yeah.
I think that's,
or maybe
so far
we'll see in December how big a role Peter Parker, because it seemed like for years they were grooming him to be the next type of Tony Stark. However, I don't know. I have a feeling they might kill off Tom Holland's Peter Parker in this one and to open the door for a Miles Morales.
See, I think they want to open the universe, but I don't think they'll kill him off.
It doesn't seem likely. It doesn't seem likely, especially because he's so damn young in his character. He's still in
Yeah,
high school. I mean, and I would like to see an older version of Tom Holland. Like, give me
me too.
adult, because as great as what Tom Holland is doing, what I liked about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is you saw his really his serious struggles he had with being adult Peter Parker and still being Spider-Man at the same time.
Yeah,
Like, and that's essentially what Spider-Man, his character has always been about. He hasn't
yeah.
been he gets all the glitz and glamour for being Spider-Man, but when he's Peter Parker, he goes through some serious struggles as a person. So
Baby, what is you doing? What? What are you doing? Hey, I'm talking. You see him? Say hi.
what's
All
up,
right.
buddy?
Go beat your brothers up. Go put your shoes on.
Oh damn. Here, actually, unmute yourself real quick. My bad. I got muted. All right.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's all
All right.
good.
So wrapping up, I want to know how we go forward. And last question for you before we move on from the MCU. Where do you stand on a recasted T'Challa?
So
Because I know a lot of people are split on that. How me personally, I don't think you can have. I know they want to do a Wakanda TV series about the Dora
mhm.
Milaje. Hey, that's dope. I'm
Yeah.
for it. Can you continue to have a quote unquote Black Panther movie without having Black Panther in it? I don't think so. And would you want to see it? Personally, I'm on the fence about that.
So I am against the recast. Um, and here's why. Shuri could take over. She was supposed to take over. Eventually, the gauntlet was supposed to be thrown to Shuri. How they were going to, I know the next Black Panther was supposed to be against Namor. He was supposed to be the new big bad. I think they're still keeping that. But as far as recasting Chadwick or T'Challa, no. And the main reason is continuity issues.
What if they brought back Michael B. Jordan from the dead? Because essentially he did drink from the I think the flower fruit, whatever, I can't remember. And wasn't that supposed to provide him some form of
Yeah,
immortality?
well, he's now connected. So lesser known ability of Black Panther is uh they are all connected within uh their afterlife. So everybody who's donned the mantle of Black Panther, um, they could speak to each other, kind of like Aang and the Avatars, and that way they can learn from each other and build off of the greatness. But if they did that, yes. But once again, you're not recasting T'Challa. So there's been one recast this entire time in all the movies, and everybody knows it was with Rhodey. And I like to keep it that way because with the way that he went with Chadwick passing, as much as great as an actor will be, that memory is always going to be there. It's too fresh.
It's hard. It's big shoes for any actor to step into that role,
And
especially when you think of what Chadwick meant to Black people across the world
yeah,
to really be this massive, larger than life superhero.
yeah.
Hell,
And so
it's gonna be hard.
I'm against it specifically because it'll be hard to bring that same type of personality to the character. Now, if you pass the gauntlet, sweet. I think that would be the best case scenario for the MCU right now.
I don't. It's just gonna be weird to see how they're able to wing it because you're gonna have to make mention of him passing somehow, some way.
So we were discussing this, me and the rest of my nerd crew. We're gonna have to get you on, man. Uh you have to do it kind of like a kind of back shot. Remember when we see Thor and Thanos? We just saw the ship arrive at the end of his film, and then you see Hulk come up, and it's kind of like a, a back thought. So I think they're gonna have to do that only with T'Challa and Namor. It'll be easier because you can have him in uniform fighting against Namor, and Namor gets his win. Wakanda is going to go through a moment. Shuri's going to have to rise up to the occasion. I think you'll get a lot of emotion because we know Shuri has a tough time with her emotions already. So she's going to be failing, and maybe we could get the new Avengers or the second stage Avengers, whatever we want to call this group, to help her out because obviously she's going to be failing. They already declared Bucky as the White Wolf, so he will definitely respond to the call if given out.
Yeah, you could see Bucky has a very he holds Wakanda very dear to him.
Yeah.
He's very, you could see, we knew that he was close to Wakanda the country, but then when you saw him with Io,
yeah, interacting,
the fire,
yeah.
and when we talk about him being there for 2 years, yes, we saw him go to sleep, but we don't know how long he was asleep for, but we know that he spent a great deal of time with them. We're even to the point where she flat out calls him James.
Yeah.
So
he calls him by his full government.
And he's you could see he has a very strong emotional sense to them. He looks at them like family essentially. So we know Bucky's
this also raises the question with Io. She is supposed to become Nemesis. Nemesis is a lesser known villain of Black Panther. So when T'Challa married Storm, he was originally courting Io, and that was the purpose of the Dora. They're supposed to be his future brides as well. So he's supposed to pick one from them, and they would be the future queen of Wakanda to stand by his side. Now we know he had the previous connection with why can't I think of her name?
Okoye?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okoye is the girl from that's Michelle. I can't remember her. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we didn't see her at the end of Endgame.
No.
She wasn't there. And I thought initially that was because they were going to open up a storyline to bring the X-Men and have Storm.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that was one of the game plans because I know they still want to bring the mutants in. Hence why we were also down
the boner.
Yeah. Fucked us hard with that one.
So it's gonna be interesting. All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you for talking to me with me.
Thank you for having me.
Real quick though, before we go, one last topic. Mortal Kombat. What did you think? Did you like it?
Nostalgia, yes. The actual storyline, no.
I think the only thing I did not like about it is you had a main character be no one.
Yeah, it could have absolute nobody.
So many different characters in the Mortal Kombat universe you could have gone with to make the main character. I thought initially watching the movie that when he was gonna eventually get his Arcana, he was gonna turn.
He was gonna become Scorpion.
That's what I thought. I was like, okay, he's got Scorpion's bloodline.
He's gonna become Scorpion. He's going to absorb the name Hanzo. I was on the same boat as you, and he got that stupid little thing with his little oh my
Aquaman
god
armor. That's what
I was like, if you don't sit down somewhere, he was such a letdown.
Just
that movie could have been great.
You could have found a way to make that Johnny Cage. That could have been Johnny Cage. Instead, you tease some whack ass tease at the end of the movie. Okay, yeah. I do understand they did it because they want to set up future iteration. They already said this week. They said if it's successful, we got another 3 coming. There's another 3 Mortal Kombat movies coming. So I think a second one, given how well this one is so far being received, a second one can maybe do a little bit longer move, because this one in actuality from start to finish, not counting credits, was only an hour and 38 minutes. It wasn't very
Yeah.
long.
It's a very short film.
You can give me a 2 hour and 10 minute, 2 hour 15 movie, and I think you could do a lot more story building. I will say I liked it personally. I like the nostalgia aspect.
It's weird because my wife loved it.
I thought the fight scenes were dope.
See,
it was
now
old fashioned kung fu.
Yeah, the choreography with the fight scenes, amazing. I like the old school fatalities. I like that it was like actually ending figures. Man,
my favorite part was when old girls come in and take out Kung Lao, and he throws his hat on the floor, turns into the buzzsaw again, cuts it right in half. I said, "Oh my god!"
I was like, "That's it."
Oh
like, man,
flawless victory. Like,
Kung Lao wins. Right, yeah, loved it.
Yeah, I thought Kano in the first half of the movie was kind of annoying me. It was a little, but then they kind of shut him up in the second half a little bit. I like Sonya Blades. What I will say I like the most about it is you had relatively all unknown actors making their first role, and I thought for a lot of these being unknown, the main really good job.
The main big actors were Scorpion, Shang Tsung, and Lord Raiden.
So I recognize Scorpion. We've seen him in many movies. He was the dude in the Wolverine. He came out in Endgame. I've seen him in all sorts of ones. And then obviously the guy who plays Shang Tsung, he was that one that weird Asian dude in The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
who gets caught up, and he's been in all sorts of different ones. So, but apart from those two, I really recognized a lot of them were all new faces to me.
So I know Jax.
I know a lot of those guys will do like sci-fi and like TNT
so
shows.
I know Jax specifically from True Blood. That's where I was introduced to Jax's actor. He was in True Blood.
Which character was he? Because I was a huge fan of True Blood.
He was the
Tara's brother, or like the one who like fell in love with Tara at the end of the
Yeah.
He was like super nice guy, right? And
like I had the amazing chest. They were like both with the cult of that pagan lady.
He was one of the okay. I remember briefly that. He gets killed. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
And then I think that's like right before she turned into like a vampire herself.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Blood back in there. Okay. And that's where I recognize. I knew he was from somewhere. Okay. So what I liked is his finisher where he hits him to it. He's like, bah! I told my daughter, I said, hey, you should go. Can I watch the last 30 minutes with you? I was like, yeah, but she's 10. She don't like the blood and guts. And so I saw many times when stuff was about to go down. Right when she saw Jax go like this, that's exactly what she said. Oh no. She goes, can I look? Can I look? I was like, okay. And I was like, you don't have to watch it yourself. Like, this movie has a lot of blood and guts.
Like I said, they did a great job of redoing the old fatalities. It was great. I just don't like Cole.
That's
the only hindrance to the whole movie.
I don't know why. That was so weird. You could have did there's like 45 different history of Mortal Kombat characters. You couldn't make him one.
And you had Liu Kang. He's the chosen one.
I think they just didn't want to copy the same format from the original one where Liu Kang was the main character going forward. So I liked it. I hope I see a second one. I want to see Shao Kahn. I need to see Shao Kahn. I need to see Shao Kahn. I need to see Minotauro. I need to see the big ass sledgehammer.
Yep.
I want to see the shadow kick.
Yep.
I thought when Jax was fighting old dude on the bridge, it reminded me of the bridge from the original one. I told my daughter, I said, watch, he's probably gonna give him an uppercut and he's gonna fall on some spikes right now.
Man, I was so ready for it. I was like, I need to. I thought it was happening.
And I love Liu Kang's the
bicycle kick.
No, I tell you, it was so funny. Right, I was sitting with my little girl. I said, he was my favorite character in Mortal Kombat 3. I said, he does this silly ass kick where he goes, literally, 2 seconds later. I said, she said, oh man. She goes, you said it right on the spot. I was like, that's my move. You hold A right when he says round 1. It comes flying out the gates. You could do a whole match.
That's
with
so
pinball like
cheap,
that.
man.
Even the
So
when he
cheap.
was training with Kano, he was doing the leg sweep.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just straight leg
That's
sweeps.
yes, baby. Go find your shoes. That'd be great. Much
And then,
appreciative.
so, all right, last thing
All right.
I wanted to talk about. I know you're a fan of this, just like I am. Amazon Prime is working on a Lord of the Rings Second Age TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, like I am.
No knives.
What I really want to, it's supposed to take place in the Second Age, so they already said this show is going to cost 463 million. It's going to be the most expensive TV show ever made. So
I did not know.
When I hear that, I'm thinking we're going to see something on the level of what WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier have done, where they're giving you cinema quality TV shows as far as with the CGI.
Yeah.
One thing I know a lot of people are going to get mad when I say this, but the one reason I can't watch anything on the CW is because that shit is so low budget. The Flash looks like he got his damn costume from a Spear Halloween store in October.
Really? I mean, it might be a high dollar one, but you still can't. I feel like I wouldn't even have to save up for his costume.
Bro, I have seen cosplayers at Comic-Con that are rocking shit that looks 10 times better. Yeah, it's crazy. So that, and the one reason too is that you had the Arrow show, which is essentially the poor man's Batman show. Like, hey, we're not gonna have any actual Green Arrow villains in here. We're just gonna have a bunch of Gotham villains and say they're all villains. I thought that shit was whack. No, thank you. But so that's what I love. So anyways, this Middle Earth show is going to be, it's going to be high quality, and they're going back to New Zealand to film a lot of it.
Are they?
Yes. So they're not. I know it's not Peter Jackson, but they're.
Listen.
It seems like they're going. They want to keep it true.
Yeah, I will hype it as much as I can. I was a bit behind because I know the reports were coming out of it, and I was like, I don't want to get too invested into it, because if it lets me down, I'm gonna be brokenhearted. So, oh man, yes.
So I know it's gonna take place. They said in the Second Age. It might be. I'm thinking has to do with the forging of the rings and the forging of the one ring.
So, I'm thinking we're gonna get all the original conflict.
What I want, me personally, I would love to see is I wanted to see end at the end of the first stage where Sauron's boss, they call him Melkor or Morgoth.
Yeah,
I want to see him get defeated, hopefully in the first episode, and then you see how Middle-earth changes, but I don't know if we'll get that because the Second Age was like, I think if you read the appendages in any of the books, the Second Age is like 1,200 years long.
Yeah, I was like, it's like grand scheme.
Granted,
so I wonder how much. Yeah, I wonder how much they're gonna. Well, then we're gonna get a lot of Dark Queen.
Yep.
Which is
see a lot of. I want to see. They showed him a little bit in the movies.
Got your shoes.
But they all in the books he's referenced a lot is the elf Celeborn.
Oh yeah.
He comes out in the extended edition of Fellowship of the Rings when he's talking to Aragorn when he's in Lorien. But I think he's always in the lore of it. Him and Elrond have always been the most powerful elves on Earth.
Yep.
I want to see hopefully a lot of Numenorians come to the shore.
Okay.
And then obviously, of course, I would love to see the great battle. I want to see Sauron because we saw him in that one scene where he's just murking fools with his hammer just left and right. It ain't even close. So I'm praying we see that. So I'm a big fan of anything Lord of the Rings. Hell, the name of this podcast is Lord of the Nerds. You got a Photoshop picture of Aragorn with my face on it. So,
well, we I think especially with cinematography going as far as it's come, even since the filming of the trilogy, I think they're going to be able to deliver.
Well, here's the thing: the Hobbit movies. One of the big things I love them personally. But the one thing I will say that I agree with people's complaints about him is people didn't like the CGI orcs and goblins.
Yeah.
Now I understood it. Okay, you can't have all these makeup artists in studio working on hundreds of people,
Hundreds.
and those take, like, from what I was reading with the original filming of the movies, it would take like 8 hours to get these.
Yeah,
people
for
in
each
costume and ready.
individual. Yeah.
So the amount of time and effort,
The budget alone would break the movie.
and that's a reason why they got all the damn nominations for best costume, best makeup, and everything, best cinematography. Is
Yeah.
because the first 3 movies they were willing to put that time in. Second trilogy, maybe Peter Jackson was like, I got this new tech, maybe I want to try and make people like that. But we're seeing it's pretty much the standard now for most movies now.
Yeah.
Even in the MCU, a lot of Captain America shield is CGI. We don't look it, we don't see it, but it's there. So it's just the state of where we're at. So I would anticipate seeing CGI orcs. Hopefully not a lot of them. But me personally, I still watch the Lord of the Rings to today, and I'll tell you,
it holds up.
The you know what, on YouTube they have clips of the remastered Lord of the Rings in 4K. Bro, it looks
good.
It looks like it came out today, the way they were able to remaster it. So
yeah,
it's gonna be cool.
Yep, I can't wait. It's gonna be a great thing. The battles alone are going to justify anything that they put out.
And it sounds like hopefully they can be a little bit more loose with it. Some people said it's going to sound too Game of Thrones like when they were reading what it might be about, because you are going to see a lot of internal struggles amongst families and kingdoms, which is what happened in a lot of the Second Age.
Yeah, I was like, that was predominantly what led up to,
and that's what basically
the breaking of the houses.
And they had to reunite once again to take on Sauron once he became a nuisance. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I got for today, man. I know.
Yep.
Thanks for
it's a pleasure, brother.
Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for inviting
I've
me,
been
man.
hounding you for weeks on it, so I like it.
Yep.
I really wanted on the subject we talked about. I really felt like you were one of the best ones to talk to about this, because I know it resonated with you a lot. So I really wanted to get your point of view to at least from a black man and a black veteran to get. I won't say that you speak for all, but I know there are a lot of folks who would share your
have very similar thoughts.
So that's why I really wanted. But thank you again, man, for coming on.
No problem, brother. Thank you. Anytime.
We'll get this going in about a week or two again once we get some more stuff coming on. All right. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
man.
sir.
Enjoy your time with the family. Have a good weekend.
You too, brother. Have a good one.